Behind me we have a 2020 Kia Forte GT-Line. Not to get confused with the GT, but this is a really fun compact car that offers great looks inside and out, incredible fuel economy, and more options than most competitors can give you at this price point, which is why my wife and I decided to buy this particular one. So after 8 months of ownership, I can give you a really good idea what to expect, the pros and the cons. So let's get started. Now I want to start with the looks of the GT line because I think this is a great looking car. Because it is the GT line, it's getting a lot of aesthetics from the GT. And unfortunately, just none of the performance. But as far as looks go, I love this blacked out grille with the red accents. You also have the black fog light, or I'm sorry, marker lights down here on the side. And that trim goes all the way across the bottom where you will find the fog lights. And I just think this is a really good looking car, especially from the front. That red accent in the grille really helps it stand out. Now I do want to address the headlights on the car, which I kind of have a mixed bag of feelings on because the surrounding for, I guess we'll call them flower petals for lack of a better term, or prongs we have here, nice bright white LEDs, really nice looking, but obviously you can see the center of the main headlight is still halogen. I don't know why they just didn't do LEDs all the way around. Kind of, I don't know, it just doesn't make the car look right. It looks unfinished, or somebody kind of cheaped out on it. But, I mean, you can get an LED bulb, which I am going to do, and I will follow up on that when I do it. But it just kind of makes the car look a little strange when you got two different shades of white. And then, of course, down here at the fog lights, you can see also halogen. Just not a fan of halogen lights at all. I think they just could have put LED all the way around since it is partial LED. Just kind of, I don't know, like I said, looks a little weird. But talking more of the aesthetics part of the car, since it does get a lot of the package from the GT, you'll see the side skirts down here at the bottom, gloss black, where normal trims will be a body paint color, so that would normally be white. Also, if you come up, we have the gloss black mirror with the integrated turn signal. That looks really sharp, as well as none of the moldings here are chrome anymore. They're all black. Now we're going to move down here to the wheels, and I love these wheels. Now this is a design you may see on lower trim Fortes, but you will not see it in this paint color. I'd say this is probably more of a gunmetal metallic. I like the design. It's a nice 5-spoke design. Looks really, really good. It's wrapped in the 245/45/17, which I think is a really good size tire for this size of a car. Again, it's a lightweight, small car. 225 tires are pretty decent size, should help it handle quite a bit. Now we're going to keep walking around the car here to the back. Now here you're going to see we have the black surroundings for the reverse lights there. Looks really nice. I don't think that's part of the package. I think that most Fortes will have that. But you also do get that red trim down around the diffuser, which I do believe is part of the package. So we have that. And you also have the gloss black spoiler across the trunk lid. All in all, very nice looking setup. And as you can see, since I do have the lights on, nice LED lights in the back. Very, very nice looking car overall. Now let's talk trunk space in the Kia. There is a little button underneath of the emblem here. Push it with the key fob in your pocket. It will pop open, and you have quite a bit of trunk space in this car. I am shocked that they labeled this a compact car because there is an immense amount of space here. Now underneath of this here, I'm sorry about the sun glare, you pull the panel up and you have a fix-a-flat system. No spare, unfortunately, but you do have a fix-a-flat kit there, and more storage space, quite a bit of storage space underneath of this mat here. But I really wish they would have given you a full-size spare rather than a fix-a-flat kit, because I'm just not one to trust those all that much. So lots and lots of trunk space. Trust me, I have packed this with all kinds of things. You won't be disappointed. Now walking up to the car, if you want to get in, it does have a keyless entry, so you have a push button here. All you have to do is have the key fob in your pocket, push it, it locks. Push it again, you'll hear a double beep. It is unlocked. We're going to pop the hood here and see what we have to work with. Now what we have here is Kia's 2-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine, putting out 147 horsepower at 6,200 RPM and 132 pound-feet of torque at 4,500 RPM. Now it doesn't sound like a whole lot of power, and it's kind of not, but you got to keep in mind this car only weighs in curb weight 2,765 pounds, so it still feels spunky enough around town and more than willing to want to get you to where you want to go without getting in anyone's way. Now the MPG is rated at 31 in the city and 42 on the highway, but I'm going to be honest, with all the highway driving that I do, 40 miles to work, 40 miles back, I average 48 miles per gallon on the highway, but have actually managed a high of 50 miles per gallon a few times. But I was really trying to get that 50 miles per gallon, but it can be done if you work at it. So let's go inside the GT line and see all the beautiful materials they have here. Starting with the door panel, let's go here first. The top of the door panel here has lots of soft touch material. It's quite nice. You have what at first glance would appear to be a piano black panel here, but in the right lighting, in the angle, you'll notice that it is actually a bit of a carbon fiber pattern in there. Now again, that you will have to have the lighting hit you just right, because with the doors closed and while you're inside, it kind of just looks piano black. But it's still nice in my eyes. I mean, a little bit of piano black never hurts anybody. This aluminum handle is very solid. It feels great, and I love the contrasting color of it. Also, you're going to get nice soft touch material here where you're going to rest your elbow, as well as here, right behind it. The buttons here, very high quality. I think they're solid. They feel great. And you even got a little aluminum trim here around your mirror switches. You have a great cubby hole here for some water. Lots of storage space in there. Nothing to complain about. And you have the speakers here. This model comes with the hardened carbon upgraded stereo. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but obviously huge upgrade there. Now going inside, I want to talk about the seats first. Let's talk about these seats. It says GT line embroidered right there in the seat. This is a faux leather material. This is not actually true animal leather. It's synthetic, and you can kind of feel the difference. It's a little more rubbery, but I think it's kind of nice. I think it feels more durable than traditional leather. So if you're worried about durability, it's really nice. And since I have had kids make quite a mess in here, it's quite easy to clean up. Now the inside is cloth. I do love it. It's nice and soft. It hugs you in good. I love the white stitch pattern in there. And I also want to talk about the bolstering, because if you can see here, that's some pretty deep bolstering in this car. It's very well padded. It's very sturdy. It holds you in really, really well. And I am 6'2", and I feel like I got a medium-sized build to me, maybe a little on the smaller side, but I don't think it's uncomfortable at all. I think it hugs you in just right, and I think people of any size would be quite comfortable in these seats. Now, that being said, let's go inside and look at all this great stuff we have here, starting with the steering wheel, because this steering wheel is absolutely amazing. This is something I would expect to see in a higher-end sports car, not something of this price point. Now, obviously you can see we have a flat bottom steering wheel here. I am super excited about that. The nice aluminum trim here that says GT line in it. Also a very nice touch, nice leather wrapping. Up the sides we have perforated wrapped leather and a huge 9-3 grip. It comes up top to another solid leather wrapping. Very nice and thick wheel, feels incredible. I just think overall this is an absolutely amazing steering wheel that I would expect again in a higher end sports car and not something in this segment. Now you also have all your buttons all over the place here, not too crowded, just enough I think. All your phone controls and radio controls are on this side. On this side will be your cruise control and information. Now the gauge cluster here, it's very simple, but I love the font and I think it works great. Everything is analog, so you have your tachometer there on the left with your temperature gauge, and on the right you have your speedometer and fuel gauge. Now the center does have a small digital screen, as you can see there. We're going to close the door here, and it's got a nice solid feel to it. And again, nice softly padded armrest now that we're in here. I love the infotainment center we have here. It has a nice big screen. I'll go over that in 1 second. Turn knobs, absolutely important. Got to have turn knobs. They feel pretty good. Not the best, but they feel pretty solid, so they are nice. You got buttons here for some of your main features. Giant hazard button, looking good. Now this doesn't have the fully decked out package, so we still have turn dial climate control, which feels very solid and very good. Again, something I would expect on a much higher trim level. Now all this here is hard plastic, as is behind here as well is hard plastic, and a little bit under here. But there is soft touch material everywhere else up top. There is soft touch material up on the dash, all the way across here, all nice soft touch. Well, kind of soft touch. I'm not sure what to say. Like, it's not hard plastic, but it's not like super soft either. It's kind of a weird material. But I do like also this aluminum trim here. It looks really nice. And overall, I just love the design of this car. Now coming in under the climate control here, we have a little shelf, which is actually a wireless car charger that comes with the GT line package. And when it is on, you will see this little indicator light turn green. So that's nice to have. It's a really great feature. Or if you don't have your phone or need it to be charged, just a shelf for other stuff. Now coming down here, you're going to see a cubby hole full of change and my wife's lipstick, I think. But we have lots of options down here as far as 12-volt charging ports, auxiliary, USB, and behind this door we have another USB as well. Then we have the gear selector, which is really nice with a leather wrap top and this little indent here which works with your fingers. It's a very solid feel. It feels really good. I think this is more of their faux leather. Aluminum trim around here is really nice. Your drive modes. Again, this is not the top of the line GT line trim. I think there's 3 options that you can get with the GT line, one of which is heated and cooled seats. Those buttons would be here. I do not have that, and you know, that's just something if you choose to do, that's where those buttons would be. Cup holders and a traditional e-brake. Go figure that. Something we don't get a whole lot of anymore. Most of it is electronic, but you do have a nice handle there for an e-brake. Cup holders are pretty good size too, no complaints there. All right, the one major complaint I have with the interior of this car is going to be the padding here on this elbow rest and for the center console. It's very rubbery. It just kind of feels cheap, unfortunately. I don't know how it's going to hold up durability wise over time. I guess we're going to find out, but yeah, it's soft, I'll give it that, but it's very rubbery. But if you lift up, you can see we have a bunch of junk down there, holding some USB ports, easy pass, some other ends, but it's a good sized little cubby, and it also has another USB charging right there. So lots of storage space in the Kia Forte. Now, as far as being comfortable in the Forte GT line, I am 6'2". I have a hard time fitting in a lot of economy cars, but this one I am extremely comfortable in. I have lots of headroom here. Can almost fit, actually can fit a full fist between my head and the roof line here. So I'm very comfortable. I have lots of leg room. You see, I'm almost got my left leg stretched totally out here, and I am quite comfortable in the Forte GT, GT line, sorry. But I think if you're a tall person, you won't have any problems fitting in this car. Now, going to the back of the car, I did leave my kid's car seat in there just to give you an idea of space and what you have to expect here. Lots of room for a child seat, and even in my seating position, there is lots of room here for her to grow, or I think even an adult. The passenger side, you can see lots of space there. I'm going to walk over in just a second, but I'm going to go show you how I fit behind there. But the door panels here also same as the front, soft up top, lots of elbow padding. So you got a little cup holder down there, and that's pretty nice for your passengers. Going to the rear, you have the same stitching in the seat as you do in the front, same faux leather material, and it's just a really nice place to be. Now, I am actually sitting in the back seat here, and I have lots of leg room here. I mean, you can see, not even touching. I'm very comfortable. And as far as my headroom is concerned, let's swing this camera around. I have lots of headroom too. Could fit probably, what, 3 fingers there? 3 fingers, lots of headroom. So I'm actually quite surprised that someone of my height can fit in this car as well as I do. And I think that seat in front of me is actually almost to the position of the driver's seat, which is my spot. So I've honestly never fit in the back of an economy car this well. Now also right here in between the seats, you'll see we have a pull down armrest, 2 nice cup holders, very well padded, very nice for, well, in my case, my kids' cups, or anything else they want to throw in there, which happens to be just about every toy or piece of trash they can find. Now the Forte is a push button start, so foot on the brake, hit the button, everything fires up. Get a little picture of the car there for a second, and a very small digital screen. Over in your infotainment center, let's take a look at that. This is the screen you'll start out with. We'll touch on the radio settings here. It's a very nice little system. It's very, very easy to read. You can take your bands, you can check it AM, FM, and Sirius radio. You have HD radio, scan, scroll through. You can see how responsive it is. It's actually quite responsive. Again, very easy to use. If you hit your home button, you have other menus here. And phone setups, radio quick guides, very quick responsive system. The UVU system, that is Kia's, I want to say their remote start app. So you don't get a remote start on the key fob. You have to sign up for UVU, and you can use the app on your phone as a remote start, which I'm going to do. Haven't done it yet, so when I do, I'll give you a tutorial on that one. Now the Android Auto, it does have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. The only thing with that is it's not wireless, so you do have to have your phone hooked up down here to a USB port, which connects to the infotainment system and gives you your Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So normally I would just take one of the USBs in my center console here, plug it there, rest my phone on the charger, and call it a day. Overall, I like it. I think it's a very easy system to use. It's very quick and responsive, like I said, and so absolutely no complaints there. Now, living here in Pennsylvania, this is where I do drive a lot of back roads and small roads like this, and you really get a good idea of the handling of the car. Now, unlike the GT, this one does have a torsion beam rear suspension, whereas the GT has an independent. But even with a torsion beam suspension, it does really well for what you're working with. And I really can't even say the torsion beam stands out to me. It might be a little bumpier than, say, independent rear suspension that you may notice on other cars, but this is still really nice driving vehicle. Now, back here, I'm normally always in sport mode. It's so much more responsive than normal. The throttle response is almost immediate. The steering is a little tighter. I do enjoy a nice tight steering wheel, and the shifts on here with the IVT transmission, this is where you notice the big difference from your traditional CVT, because as soon as you hit the gas, it immediately kicks down, and it does mimic gear shifts really well. There is a little bit, I will say, of rubber band feeling if you put it in normal, which I'll do here in a minute, but you know, I'm always driving in sport around town, so normal is something I only do on the highway because, you know, gas mileage reasons. Coming up on a little bend here, and I think this thing handles pretty good. I'm not gonna sit here and knock it for having a torsion beam suspension, where, you know, this isn't a Civic Si or even the GT. I mean, if you want a higher performing car, go with the GT, but for something that's just a commuter, or you're just everyday little car, you get to and from work, hauling the kids around like me, this is great. There's a tight turn right here. Yeah, this thing feels really planted. It's not bad at all. I'm not going to call it a sports car. It's definitely not, but it is riding on two 25/45 tires, which I do think help quite a bit because it is a pretty decent sized tire for a car this small. We're going to come to a complete stop. Let's try the acceleration and go. That's 60. It's not bad. The biggest part is getting off the line. Once you get the RPMs going, you get above 3,000, it really starts to pull pretty well. Getting off the line though definitely feels sluggish, and it's like it's trying. This car is really eager to do the work. It really wants to perform, but it can't. And that's the thing I love about this car. It wants to do the work. It wants to give you everything it's got, even though it's not much. Now, like other cars, let's say a 2017 Honda Civic, for instance, wasn't an SI, it was just a base trim. It didn't want to do it. It just said, nope, not going to make this turn. The steering feel was just not great. And it just wasn't a car that was eager to do much of anything other than get from point A to point B. Now, this car, although not extraordinarily fast, wants to do the work. It wants to go fast. It wants to do it for you. And it's like it's trying to prove something. But unfortunately, it just doesn't have the equipment to do it. But I can respect that because I have fun driving this car. This is the car they're talking about when they say, would you rather drive a fast car slow or a slow car fast? I would rather drive this car fast than a fast car slow, because this is actually a fun car, believe it or not. All right, so we're going to get moving first, and now we're going to stab it from about a 25. See, now this car right there, when you're moving, it really wants to go. Like, that's where this car, I feel, excels, is when it's already on a roll. When you punch it, it's very, very responsive. And I still am going to give that credit to the IVT transmission, because it's chain driven and not belt driven. I feel the responsiveness of the transmission is just so much better. And of course, being in sport mode, the steering feel is tightened up, and then with the throttle response being so much better. As a total package, this is a great car. Now I'm going to put it over into normal mode for now, and we'll see how this goes. I can definitely feel the throttle response is softer. The steering has lightened up a little bit, although it's still very sharp and very direct. That's what I love about newer Kias. The steering is so much better than even that of a Honda, which, you know, is very good in its own right. But in normal mode, the transmission drops down and it acts like a normal CVT in regards to just trying to give you the best gas mileage while still giving you that responsiveness of the chain-driven unit. I was about half throttle in normal, and if you can hear it, you can hear it kind of has that droney CVT sound to it. But I think that's more so in normal mode. If I put it back in sport, which I'm going to do because I honestly drive more in sport than anything else around town. And we do have a smart mode in this car as well, so the computer is supposed to analyze your driving style and go from sport to normal as it feels fit. So to sum everything up, I think the GT line is a great looking car. I love the interior. I think it's really high end for what you're getting in the segment. It drives beautifully. I think it's got a real sporty feel to it. I love the steering. I love the responsiveness of the transmission and the throttle. The fuel economy cannot be beat. Again, I averaged about 48 on the highway, and I've gotten as high as 50 miles per gallon during a 32-mile trip. So honestly, I don't think you can beat that for a gas-powered vehicle. Don't let the horsepower numbers deter you. I mean, I know it's only 147 horsepower, but the car weighs, I think, just under 2,800 pounds. It's very snappy for what it is, and it doesn't feel like it's down on power once you're moving, although from a dead stop, it could use a little bit of help. The size is incredible. The storage space is great. I think this is something that you will thoroughly enjoy if you decide to buy one. If you do have one, let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. Hit that like button for me and the subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next upload.